So, for example, Seth MacFarlane, he actually addressed Winfrey's promotion of pseudoscience. Folks think of Seth MacFarlane and they think Family Guy. It's hard not to when he not only created it, but voices multiple characters of the hit show. But while many assume Seth wouldn't be the most learned or politically active of people based off of, well, everything about his hit TV series, you'd be wrong. Amid the pandemic in 2020, MacFarlane had a few words for Winfrey, and they weren't silly ones. To quote him, Oprah has done some wonderfully altruistic things with her career, but the use of her platform to amplify the voices of dubious characters rather than legitimate scientists has been a disservice, MacFarlane wrote in a now deleted tweet. I hope she will lend her own powerful voice to correct it. The post included an LA Times article link that discussed medical misinformation from Dr. Phil McGraw and Dr. Mehmet Oz. MacFarlane said Winfrey has mostly, quote, used her platform for good during a subsequent interview with Vice, but the exception is the elevation of these purveyors of pseudoscience. People like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, all the way back to Jenny McCarthy and the anti-vax movement, he continued, and it's a strange dichotomy that I think a lot of people, particularly right now, are having trouble reconciling. You know, this person who's done all this positive work for the world, and yet somehow they've still gotten caught up in this web of junk science on many occasions. So it's a tough thing to balance, he concluded, and expressed that people should be forming their own opinions and not be so quick to accept what's shown on Oprah's show. Meanwhile, an Oscar-obtaining obsessed Oprah had a mean streak against the actress and comedian Monique, who has never shied away from saying it. Monique is an SA survivor and she won an Oscar in 2010, so you know that makes her Oprah's arch nemesis if you know anything about Oprah. And wouldn't you know it, it's the same year that Oprah chose to invite her onto the show and surprise her with her whole family coming on stage during the interview, including the brother who had SA'd her. So Oprah allowed Monique's parents and her brother to then berate and gaslight her on national TV, and in the interview, Oprah also acknowledged that she was aware of the beef between Monique and her mother at the time she did this. Monique confronted Oprah about going behind her back and exploiting her trauma for views, clicks, and attention, and Oprah said she would check into that, but never called Monique back. Monique then confronted Oprah the next time they saw each other in person at a celebrity event, and Oprah issued a half-assed apology under, you know, peer perspective. Within a month though, she's gotten Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels to help her engage in a smear campaign which labeled Monique as difficult to work with and other meager rumors, all because she was not okay with Oprah exploiting her trauma in a way she didn't approve of. Monique's career suffered as a result, and when asked about the events that transpired, a very defeated Monique said in 2015 sarcastically that I wasn't blackballed, I was whiteballed. Thank you Miss Winfrey, thank you Mr. Perry, and thank you Mr. Daniels. Ludacris was given the third degree on his Oprah visit once, appearing on the show to promote Crash 2004. He claimed she ambushed him with criticism about his hip-hop lyrics. Instead of talking about the critically acclaimed movie he was there to plug. And the interview was even edited in Winfrey's favor. She edited out a lot of my comments while keeping her own in, Luda told GQ. Of course, it's her show, but we were doing a show on racial discrimination, and she gave me a hard time as a rapper when I came on there as an actor. He added, initially I wasn't even invited on the show, and they called me the night before to tell me I could be on. So after the taping, she pulled me into the room and we have a 5-minute conversation. What I got was that by having rappers on her show, she feels like she's empowering them, and that's a bad thing. It was like being at someone's house who doesn't really want you there. It was already uncomfortable. The Beast Mode MC added that she criticized him for using the N-word in his lyrics, and said, I don't see why people like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, who I'm huge fans of, it's okay for them to go on Oprah. They speak the same language as I do, but they do it through comedy, so I guess that's acceptable to her. Ice Cube had similar feelings to Luda. The NWA founder expressed he'd always felt ostracized by Winfrey intentionally because he was never invited on her show, despite many of his cinematic co-stars always being invited to chat with her on air. Sometimes entire main casts of productions Ice Cube was part of were brought onto Oprah's shows, with Ice always being told he was not on the invite list. To quote him, I've been involved in 3 major projects pitched to her, but I've never been asked to participate, the NWA founding member told FHM in July of 2006. For Barbershop 2002, she had Cedric the Entertainer and Eve on, but I wasn't invited. Maybe she's got a problem with hip-hop. Ice also added a pretty savage point that she's had damn R-wordists and child creepers and lying authors on her show, and if I'm not a rags to riches story for her, who is? Back to her Oscar obsession, you'll notice Oprah snubbed 2 2 celebrity winners. So this is a double trouble segment. First, in author Katie Kelly's unauthorized Oprah, a biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg and Winfrey got testy after Goldberg was nominated for an Oscar in her role in The Color Purple 1985, but Oprah wasn't. The book notes that following Goldberg's honor, the comedian never appeared on Winfrey's show again and was noticeably shunned from Winfrey's 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Winfrey invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto her show that she and Goldberg reconnected, and they addressed the perceived bad blood between them. Turns out it was just a misunderstanding, according to Oprah, allegedly, because Angelica Houston had also been treated the same since Oprah's Oscar nomination and loss in 1986. The Oscar winner, Houston, explained she had never had me on her show, ever, and now she won't talk to me. The only encounter I've had with Oprah was when I was at a party for the Academy Awards at a private residence. I was talking to Clint Eastwood and she literally came between us with her back to me. So all of a sudden, I'm confronted with the back of Oprah's head. When asked why the normally classy Winfrey behaved that way towards Angelica, Houston candidly calls it how she perceives it. Well, nobody else would dislike me so much so as to literally physically come in between the person I was talking to. God knows she's made some big steps. If you're so obsessed with obtaining an Oscar, you have a temper tantrum that continues on for 38 years, 38 with someone you've never spoken to before or after, that's crazy. That's bat bleep crazy. And one family with a bone to pick is most definitely the Jacksons. Janet Jackson was reportedly livid with Winfrey after the talk show host invited the children of her late brother Michael Jackson onto her show in 2010. She thinks Oprah took advantage of Michael's children for TV ratings. Janet told her Michael would be heartsick that Oprah used the kids as pawns, a source told the National Enquirer at the time. The two women had a blistering blow-up during a telephone call on the day that the show was taped. When Oprah made it clear that she was going ahead with the interview, Janet screamed, "Oprah, you make me sick." Janet and Michael's brother Randy Jackson was also not a fan of Winfrey. After Winfrey interviewed their parents, Joe and Katherine Jackson, in October of 2010, Randy was reportedly furious and tweeting, "I know how Oprah feels about my brother and family." According to TMZ, Randy followed these tweets up claiming that Winfrey was airing episodes about predators during Michael's 2005 trial as a deliberate airtime move. Randy also believed Winfrey wanted Michael in jail and wanted to profit off of getting him there however she could. To quote, "That was no coincidence. She is the last person on earth Michael would want around his children." Oprah's interactions with Jonathan Franzen was a warning in of itself as well, without the man ever having to say a peep about it. So the famed author began his beef with Winfrey when he dissed her legendary Oprah's Book Club in 2001 by telling Salon that her choices for it were one-dimensional and schmaltzy. Absolutely accurate on Jonathan's end, and it seems, just to stick it to him, Oprah then chose his book, The Corrections, for her book club in response. Jonathan got the message. He's put in an awkward position. Admit, as an author, his work is one-dimensional and schmaltzy because it's part of her book club he described that way, or damage his sales. Franzen's decision was a hard one, and he expressed feeling conflicted, and that "I don't see this as my book, my creation. I didn't want that logo of corporate ownership over it." It wasn't the answer Oprah wanted, however, and in response, she rescinded her offer to host Franzen on her show, and then Franzen had his book sales threatened. This forced the author to backpedal on his remarks and claim that they were taken out of context, saying, "I said things ended up hurting Winfrey's feelings. I feel bad because the person being hurt is actually a really good person for American writing and reading," he generically told the New York Times. It seems the subtle threats worked because Franzen got back in line and these two made peace. In 2010, Winfrey chose another one of his books, The Freedom, for her book club and hosted him on the show. Cindy Crawford was also made to low-key pimp herself out, otherwise face Oprah's wrath. Last year, supermodel Cindy Crawford, 58, spoke out about how Oprah Winfrey, 68, made her feel like chattel or a child to be seen and not heard when the TV host had her back on the show in 1986 when she was just 20 years old at the time. During the interview, Oprah asked the young model to show off her body, which Crawford now interprets as a moment where she had to prove her worth, as proven in how Oprah's heard even introducing the young model. Did she always have this body? Stand up for just a moment. Now this is what I call a body. Reflecting on how she felt in that moment, Cindy admitted, "When you look at it through today's eyes, Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body, show us why you're worthy of being here. The mom of two continued, in the moment I didn't recognize it, and watching it back I was like, oh my gosh, that is so not okay really, especially from Oprah. Many of Hollywood's elite fully support Winfrey, even when she behaved like this since the 80s, but Scream star and Me Too activist Rose McGowan isn't one of them. McGowan tweeted in 2014 a photo of Winfrey kissing the cheek of a certain disgraced producer and director that was taken down by the Me Too movement. You know the one. He and Oprah had been very close and had numerous business ventures together, which probably inspired Rose to write this following message. I am glad more is seeing the ugly truth of @Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with director's name to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons victims, she's about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. #Lizard. McGowan captioned the tweeted image. Winfrey previously addressed the controversy, saying she didn't know about the director's alleged actions with women, but McGowan's one of those who've been outspoken against the producer and pointing fingers at his friends, such as Oprah. Which leads us to our last finger pointer, Seal. I know, right? Kinda like an odd guy to top it off with, but the dude really went in on her. See, after the Me Too stuff came out, and just days after the Golden Globes in January 2018, the singer posted a meme on Instagram, one consisting of several photos of Winfrey cozying up with the aforementioned evil Me Too director, including one where it appears like Winfrey's pushing singer Rita Ora towards the disgraced movie mogul. Seal captioned the images in a seeming response to Oprah's insistence she knew nothing of the disgraced actor's doings. Oh, I forgot, that's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially violating young starry-eyed actresses, who in turn had no idea what they were getting into. My bad. Meanwhile, the meme itself read, when you've been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you're the solution.
Let's jump right in with Rose McGowan. We're gonna discuss the controversies surrounding Hollywood's prominent figures and their relationship with talk show host Oprah Winfrey. Rose McGowan, an influential figure in the #MeToo movement and star of the Scream franchise, is distanced from this trend. McGowan brought attention to a photo from the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards, which shows Winfrey kissing a disgraced producer in Hollywood. McGowan captioned her tweet with some strong words saying, "I'm glad more are seeing the ugly truth of @Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't," and added that she is supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. #Lizard. This tweet sparked a lot of debate and speculation among fans, with some defending Winfrey and others criticizing her. However, it's important to note that this is not the first time McGowan has called out Winfrey. Now, we all know how relevant Oprah has remained within the industry, so do you think she's part of the problem in Hollywood? I mean, she's pretty powerful. Let us know in the comments below. On to the next, Seth MacFarlane. MacFarlane? I don't know. In a tweet posted in 2020, MacFarlane acknowledged Winfrey's positive influence through her career as a television host and philanthropist, and praised her for using her platform to bring attention to important issues and making a positive impact in society. However, he also expressed his disappointment in Winfrey's frequent promotion of pseudoscience and conspiracy theories on her talk show. He urged Winfrey to use her influential voice to promote facts and science instead of spreading misinformation. This tweet sparked a debate among fans of both MacFarlane and Winfrey. Some supported Seth's call for accountability, while others defended Winfrey's right to her own opinions. Despite there are differences in opinion, both MacFarlane and Winfrey have used their platforms to bring attention to important social issues. Even those who we admire and respect are not immune to criticism and should be held accountable for their actions. Kid Rock. Kid Rock has never been one to hide his feelings towards Oprah Winfrey. As TMZ highlighted before, Kid Rock had a public outburst about Winfrey at his own establishment, Kid Rock's Big Honky Tonk and Steakhouse in Nashville, which resulted in him being escorted out. He tweeted, "Years ago, my team tried to get me on the Oprah Winfrey show. Her team wanted me to list 5 reasons why I loved her and her show. I flatly refused. That's the end of it." Kid Rock hasn't been shy about expressing his feelings. In 2008, he clarified his sentiments, telling The Independent, "Oprah Winfrey just doesn't sit well with me. I don't trust her. Maybe that's because I'm not one of the 150 million women who hang on her every word." Damn. Kid Rock has made his disdain for Oprah evident on multiple occasions. In 2010, he went as far as calling her a bitch during a live performance at the CMA Awards. However, Kid Rock's animosity towards Winfrey seems to stem from more than just personal feelings. In an interview with The Guardian in 2015, Kid Rock explained his dislike for Winfrey by saying, "I don't hate Oprah, quite the opposite. I have a lot of admiration and respect for what she's been able to accomplish in her career. My issue is with the way she uses her platform to push certain agendas and manipulate public opinion. It's obvious Kid Rock believes Winfrey has too much influence over her viewers and uses it to push her own agenda. He also expressed concern over the potential for her to sway political opinions, stating, "I think that's where a lot of people get turned off by Oprah or any celebrity using their platform for political gain." Up next is Seal. Singer Seal didn't hold back his disapproval of Winfrey making his feelings known on social media. Back in 2018, the acclaimed vocalist, best known for his hit song Kiss from a Rose, leveled allegations against Winfrey, claiming she had knowledge of a disgraced producer whose name shall not be named, his actions for decades. He posted a now deleted Instagram photo of Winfrey with said producer with a scathing caption, "You'd heard the rumors, hadn't you? Yet you turned a blind eye to the truth that he was preying on unsuspecting, ambitious young actresses. Apologies for my oversight." He continued, "When you've been a part of the problem for decades, yet everyone suddenly sees you as the solution, hashtag sanctimonious Hollywood." Singer Seal's comments about Oprah Winfrey and disgraced producer sparked controversy and brought attention to the larger issue of assault and harassment in Hollywood. While some praised Seal for speaking out, others criticized him for his harsh words towards Winfrey. This incident also highlighted the complicated relationship between celebrities and their involvement in important social issues. It serves as a reminder that everyone has a responsibility to educate themselves and use their platform for good. The conversation about misconduct in the entertainment industry continues, and it is important to listen to all voices and work towards creating a safer environment for everyone. So we must ensure that our society provides equal opportunities and safe spaces for all individuals. Only then can we truly progress towards a more inclusive and just society. Up next, Ludacris. Following his role in the 2004 movie Crash, Ludacris, otherwise known as Christopher Brian Bridges, made an appearance on Winfrey's TV program. The intent was to discuss the film, but the conversation took a different turn. Ludacris told GQ she got many of my points, keeping hers intact. It's her show, but we were discussing racial discrimination, and I felt she was challenging me excessively as a rapper, disregarding my role as an actor for the show. He added, "At first I wasn't even invited to the show, it was only the night before when they rang me up to say I could come." After filming, Winfrey and I had a short 5-minute chat. The impression I got was that she believes by hosting rappers, she's giving them more power. It felt like being in a place where you're not welcome. It was already quite awkward. Following the controversial interview, Ludacris received backlash from both fans and critics. Many accused him of being disrespectful towards Winfrey and not understanding the purpose of her show. However, Ludacris defended himself by stating that he was simply speaking his truth and standing up for himself. The incident shed light on a larger issue within the entertainment industry, the portrayal of rappers and hip-hop artists. Many have argued that these artists are often stigmatized and pigeonholed into negative stereotypes, while their talents as actors or intellectuals are overlooked. Jason Momoa. In the aftermath of the devastating wildfires that swept through Maui in August 2023, Hollywood star Jason Momoa pointed fingers at two prominent figures, Oprah Winfrey and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Momoa charged them with, in his own words, stealing money from the poor. This controversy arose from a fundraising initiative that Winfrey and Johnson had organized with the aim of aiding the victims of these wildfires. In the months following the controversy, both Winfrey and Johnson have responded to Momoa's allegations. In an exclusive interview with Oprah magazine, Winfrey stated that she was deeply saddened by Momoa's accusations and denied any wrongdoing on her part. She explained that the fundraiser had been a collaborative effort with Johnson and that all of the proceeds went towards helping the victims of the wildfires. She also added that she had personally donated a large sum to the cause. Angelina Jolie, in an unexpected twist, it appears that two globally recognized humanitarians, Angelina and Oprah, have had some friction. When Winfrey was launching her esteemed project, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, she reportedly reached out to Jolie for assistance. However, according to an insider's account shared with Star Magazine, in 2007, Jolie declined. Winfrey had anticipated Jolie's support given her love for Africa. Disappointed, Winfrey vowed never to ask for Jolie's help in her humanitarian projects in the future. The source also claimed that there might be unresolved issues between the two, stemming from Winfrey's support for Jennifer Aniston during the well-publicized split with Brad Pitt. In recent years, there have been multiple reports of tension and rivalry between Angelina and Oprah. While both women are highly influential figures in their respective fields, many wonder what has caused this apparent friction between them. David Letterman. Many assume the beef between David and Oprah started because of an awkward joke at the 1995 Academy Awards, but according to Letterman, the disagreement actually sparked well before that. In a 2010 episode of The Daily Show, he told Jon Stewart, "The feud predates the Academy Awards. She had a problem with me long before then." He narrated an encounter from a vacation they both happened to be on. Oprah was with Stedman and I was with my then girlfriend Regina. We were having lunch at the same restaurant restaurant, I jokingly told Regina, let's have Oprah pick up our check, and that's what happened. Letterman convinced the waiter that Winfrey would pay for their lunch. This, according to Letterman, is where the feud started, but Oprah has a different take on the feud's origin. In a 2012 interview with CBS News, she said she felt uncomfortable on his show and avoided any contact with him for 16 years, during which he continuously made jokes at her expense. They've since reconciled their differences. Joan Rivers. In her first national television debut on The Tonight Show in 1985, Oprah Winfrey faced an unexpected blow from the late Joan Rivers. As Winfrey recounts in her book, Food, Health, and Happiness, she was just getting comfortable when Rivers threw a curveball question, so how'd you gain the weight? Winfrey was taken aback on her big day with the word fat echoing in her mind. Winfrey explains further that Rivers from behind Johnny's large desk scolded her for letting herself gain weight. Rivers' manicured finger pointed at her, reminding her of her single status and challenging her to lose 15 pounds before her next visit. And finally, 50 Cent. In the 2006 edition of Elle magazine, rapper 50 Cent made a controversial comment about Oprah Winfrey, referring to her as an Oreo. He voiced his dissatisfaction, arguing that while Oprah started her career focusing on the perspectives of black women, she had gradually shifted her attention towards middle-aged white American women to such an extent that he believed she had become one of them. To throw further shade on Oprah, 50 Cent even named his miniature Schnauzer after her. However, in 2012, they set their differences aside and had an open discussion on an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter. Visiting 50 Cent at his grandmother's house, Oprah listened as the rapper expressed his grievances about her show's apparent snub of hip-hop artists and her stance against the use of the N-word. The relationship between celebrities and media moguls like Oprah is complex and ever-changing. Some stars have used their platforms to voice their concerns or share their experiences, painting a multifaceted picture of the celebrity life and the media industry. In an ironic twist that only the digital age could serve up, it seems even the great Oprah isn't immune to a social media slip-up. Picture this. You're scrolling through your feed when you see Oprah praising the Microsoft Surface, claiming it's her go-to gift for the holiday. Quite the endorsement, right? Well, not so fast. Eagle-eyed followers quickly spotted something amiss. The tweet was sent from an iPad, the rival tech of the Surface. Talk about being caught in the act. Not the best look when you're trying to give a shout out to a product that supposedly won your heart, or at least that's what sponsors would like everyone to believe. It's a modern day tale of endorsements gone wrong, and a reminder that on the internet, someone's always watching. This mishap with Oprah leads us into a broader conversation about the authenticity of celebrity endorsements. In the age of social media, it peels back the curtain on the fact that sometimes endorsements are less about personal preference and more about contractual agreements. It's a stark reminder to consumers that while celebrity backing might bring a product to our attention, it doesn't always mean it's their genuine gadget of choice. Oprah has been called out for using weight loss medication, despite being a longtime ambassador for Weight Watchers. The famous talk show host confirmed she was using this medication to help her weight. In a revealing chat, she said her slim figure is thanks to the medication and a healthier lifestyle overall. She's admitted to using the weight loss med Ozempic, and no one is saying that she should be hated for doing what she wants to her body, but she should think about the unrealistic standards she has set when she was initially lying about taking meds for weight loss, while promoting Weight Watchers. Oprah has stepped into the spotlight not to host a show, but to address the recent criticisms around the People's Fund of Maui, a cause she passionately advocates for. Along with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Oprah launched this heartfelt initiative, seeding a staggering $10 million to assist those affected by Maui's devastating wildfires. The goal was straightforward: provide direct financial support to the victims. However, not everyone saw it that way. The internet erupted with heated debates, some accusing the duo of not doing enough despite their considerable donation. Oprah's reply? She genuinely believed that their contribution was substantial, the kind that would typically receive a standing ovation at fundraising galas. But the morning after their big pledge, instead of applause, there was a digital uproar. I woke up, checked the news, and was met with a barrage of negativity, Oprah recounted on CBS Mornings. Describing the intense scrutiny she faced, Dwayne Johnson, deeply connected to the islands by heritage and childhood memories, has yet to weigh in on the controversy. And let's talk about the time Ludacris made an appearance on Oprah Oprah's show. Now, the dude was there to shine a light on his role in the movie Crash. You know, that intense drama from 2004 that snagged a bunch of awards, but things didn't go as planned. Luda opens up about how instead of focusing on the movie, he found himself in the hot seat, facing some tough questions about his hip-hop lyrics. He wasn't shy about saying the final cut of the interview seemed to lean heavily in Oprah's favor, with some of his key points on the cutting room floor. She kept her own comments while a lot of mine got axed, he shared in a GQ interview. It turns out Luda wasn't even slated to be on the show initially. They called him up last minute, and after all that, Oprah had a private chat with him expressing her views on what it means to feature rappers on her show. Ludacris compares the whole experience to an awkward visit where you feel like the host isn't thrilled to have you over. In a scorching critique, actress Rose McGowan has leveled some heavy accusations against one of television's most beloved figures. In an explosive tweet, McGowan lashed out, calling Oprah as fake as they come. She expresses a sense of vindication that the public is starting to see a side of Oprah she perceives as disingenuous. McGowan, a pivotal voice in the #MeToo movement, doesn't mince words, openly wishing the renowned talk show host's authenticity to match her public persona. The Twitter war between Rose and Oprah has made headlines, with many wondering where the root of their animosity lies. It seems that McGowan's main issue with Winfrey stems from her perceived hypocrisy in light of recent events involving an extremely controversial person. She's been vocal about holding powerful figures accountable for their actions, and in this case, she believes Winfrey is not practicing what she preaches. This raises an important question about how much we truly know about the people we idolize and put on a pedestal in our society. In her stirring speech at the Golden Globe Awards, Oprah once again demonstrated why she is considered such a powerful and motivational figure. Her successful entrepreneurial journey, her impactful philanthropy, and her natural heartfelt connect with people are truly commendable. However, there's a twist in the tale. Over time, Oprah has, through different media avenues, unintentionally promoted some questionable health practices. This very aspect had the scientific community in a bit of an uproar. On YouTube, we often talk about the influence celebrities have on public opinion, and Oprah's case is particularly fascinating. Notably boosted Dr. Oz's popularity, who, despite being a charming TV personality, has faced criticism for advocating medical advice and products lacking scientific backing. Consider the episode with the green coffee bean extract, a supposed weight loss miracle that fell flat after closer scrutiny and legal intervention. It's concerning when only a fraction of health recommendations on a show like the Dr. Oz show stand up to scientific validation. And yet, even after distancing herself slightly by canceling Oz's radio show amidst professional pushback, Oprah maintains ties with him, showcasing the complex relationship between media influence, celebrity endorsement, and evidence-based medicine. In another contentious twist in media careers, Oprah played a pivotal role in the rise of Philip, Dr. Phil McGraw, who now reigns as daytime TV's top earner. Portrayed as the valiant hero who saves people from the grips of addiction, Dr. Phil's approach is not without its detractors. A joint investigation by Stat and the Boston Globe cast a critical eye on the Dr. Phil show, revealing troubling allegations that in chasing ratings, the welfare of certain guests was jeopardized, facing withdrawal without proper medical aid, and episodes indicating coercive nudges towards dangerous situations just to procure meds. As intense as these revelations are, the show's spokesperson denies them all. Further probing unearthed evidence suggesting that the carrot for treatment centers to buy into Dr. Phil's virtual reality venture, a series of VR scenarios where he offers advice, is none other than the promise of publicity across his and related platforms. While Oprah Winfrey's intentions in championing alternative medicine are likely well-intentioned, her influence has unfortunately had a negative impact on scientific understanding amongst the American populace. This phenomenon, often referred to as the Oprahification of medicine, is a concern that surgical oncologist Dr. David Gorski, a contributor to the science-based medicine website, has expressed disappointment over. As pointed out by A.V. Salk of the Washington Post, should Winfrey ever decide to enter the political arena, her advocacy for unconventional medical practices could present numerous challenges that would need addressing during her campaign. With an estimated 44 million viewers per week, Oprah has a powerful platform to spread her beliefs and opinions, and while she may have good intentions with her advocacy for alternative medicine, her influence has unfortunately led to a dangerous trend of misinformation and pseudoscience. Dr. Gorski points out, Winfrey's promotion of unproven or debunked treatments can have harmful consequences for those who trust her and follow her advice. In the Apple TV Plus docuseries The Supermodels, Cindy Crawford has dropped some bombshell comments about a moment with Oprah that's got the internet seriously buzzing. So buckle up, because we're going back to 1986 when a 20-year-old Cindy graced the Oprah Winfrey Show. But here's the twist. Cindy, alongside her agent John Casablancas, didn't just sit for a chat. She had to stand and showcase her model physique physique. Fast forward to the docuseries, and Cindy is calling out this moment as not cool, especially by today's standards. It's a real look-see moment as Cindy felt objectified, a stark contrast to Oprah's celebrated history of empowering women, but hey, opinions differ. And entertainment reporter Stephanie Tacky offers a different angle, reminding us that supermodel status is often tied to their iconic figures. Was it just the nature of the 80s showbiz? Was it more about respecting Cindy's legendary career? Cindy's comments have sparked a debate about the treatment of models. In recent years, there has been a significant shift towards body positivity and embracing all body types in the fashion world. In an Elle magazine interview back in January 2006, which later circulated on TMZ, 50 Cent offered a critique of Oprah, suggesting that her originally targeted audience and point of view had shifted. He claimed Winfrey, once a voice resonating with black women, had progressively directed her content towards middle-aged white women to the point where he felt she represented that demographic. 50 Cent's remarks were accompanied by a symbolic gesture of naming his dog Oprah as a subtle jab. However, the rapper and talk show icon addressed their differences in an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter, where 50 Cent highlighted that he felt targeted by her critiques, which directly opposed the themes in his music.
Oprah Winfrey is back in the news today for a couple of reasons, but they all surround the release of the new musical remake of The Color Purple. While doing press for the new film starring Taraji P. Henson, The Little Mermaid's Hailey Bailey, Peacemaker's Danielle Brooks, and Fantasia Barrino making her silver screen debut, Oprah Winfrey was a star of the original version of the film from 1985, and she's a producer of this reboot. While speaking with The View earlier this week, Oprah appeared to drop some major shade towards both the film and the people involved on that show. One of the hosts of The View is, of course, Whoopi Goldberg, who is not only a hilarious woman, but was also a major player in the original version of Color Purple. In fact, herself and Oprah Winfrey had a very silly feud back in the day, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The show producers were upset to see that Oprah would not be appearing alongside the cast of the film on an episode of The View from last week. Whoopi Goldberg introduced the crew on an all-purple set, and they were on the show to talk about the movie, their careers, and the producers had hoped that Oprah Winfrey would make an appearance and allow the show to market itself as a reunion episode. Whoopi actually makes an appearance in the new film and has appeared on set, but with no Oprah in sight. The reason that The View is particularly annoyed with Oprah's absence is because she has been appearing on other talk shows to promote the film. Oprah has appeared on The Drew Barrymore Show and Sherri Shepherd's Sherri. Around the same time, Oprah gave a candid interview with People magazine about her recent weight loss and how she was aided by medication, but let's talk about The View for a minute. Despite her absence from the episode, it was well received, and Whoopi said that she felt a strong connection with the people who actually did show up. As I mentioned earlier, Oprah has been making rounds to the talk show circuit. She was on The Drew Barrymore Show. The host, Drew Barrymore, was beyond excited that Oprah was there to be her special guest. During the interview, Drew was very touchy-feely, and because the internet is the way that it is, people called for her to be cancelled. Let go of Oprah, lady! But as it turns out, Oprah was not only okay with this, but it actually made her feel more comfortable to talk about her personal life on top of the film. But this appearance sparked some backlash. Like, why was she on this show but not The View with Whoopi Goldberg? Back in the day, Whoopi Goldberg was nominated for an Oscar for her part in the original Color Purple, and according to author Kitty Kelly, she became enemy number one to Oprah Winfrey. Rumors were spread, and the book noted that following the nomination, Whoopi actually never made an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, which was odd considering at one point Oprah invited the entire cast of the original movie onto her show to celebrate. She also notably let Whoopi off of the guest list of her 2006 Legends Ball, which saw a ton of A-list celebrities in attendance. Oprah and Whoopi eventually ran into each other at a party thrown by Tyler Perry a few years later, where they supposedly squashed any beef that existed between them. Either that never actually happened, or something new has taken place, since Oprah and Whoopi are still never seen in the same room together. But it's not just Whoopi Goldberg who seems to take issues with Oprah's attitude. One of the stars of the new film, Taraji P. Henson, delivered a tearful interview that touched on pay disparities for black women in Hollywood. This past week on Instagram, the Oscar-nominated actress acknowledged this social media response to her interview with Gayle King from SiriusXM Radio. During the interview, she expressed that she was just tired of working hard and getting paid a fraction of what she deserved. Posting on Instagram, she thanked her fans for their response to her message with compassion, understanding, and support. She shared a photo of herself and Oprah and wrote that this is so important for black women and all women of color to support each other. It is also imperative to have women of color in decision-making positions across all industries. While there were a lot of rumors circulating that Oprah Winfrey was some kind of a tyrant on set, those rumors were quickly squashed thanks to Taraj's post. She wrote under the photo that Oprah was nothing less than a steady and solid beacon of light to all of the cast members of The Color Purple. She provided encouragement, guidance, and unwavering support to everyone there. She concluded by saying that Oprah told her personally to reach out for anything that she needed, and she did. One call, one conversation, one decision making black women to make her feel heard. The tearful part of the interview came as King asked Taraji about past comments that the Empire actress made about contemplating leaving her acting career behind. She told King and her fellow guests that she was tired of hearing her sisters saying the same thing over and over again. She told the host that she hears people talk about how hard she works and that the math just isn't mathing. There is an entire team of people above her that make the majority of the money in the film industry, and she's voiced her frustrations that every time she does something and breaks through another glass ceiling, and when it's time to renegotiate, she's just at the bottom again, like she didn't do what she just did. And it wears on your mental health because the question is, why? Like, what does it mean for you as an actor? Gabrielle Union backed up her claims, saying that there was not a word of a lie told by this woman. In fact, Viola Davis from The Woman King reposted this clip to her Instagram simply with the caption, "This," and a few hands pointing up. A little while back, Taraj was seriously considering leaving the US altogether, living in another country. Considering how stellar of an actor she is along with the rest of the cast, Hollywood really needs to get their act together and pay their people. The strike should hopefully push Hollywood in the right direction, but we may not know for a long time. For anyone interested, The Color Purple comes out on Christmas Day in theaters everywhere, and I will be checking it out. As mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, Oprah received a ton of backlash this year for a few reasons. Most recently, it was because she told the world that her weight loss was the result of medication rather than natural work. The backlash was swift and not unwarranted, as Oprah literally started Weight Watchers, which is a company that encourages weight loss through behavioral changes, nutritional science, and real connections. Instead of encouraging people to eat better and make positive changes, she told the world to literally take a chill pill. She is not only a member of the company still, but she claims to follow the practices to this day. Considering she's almost 70 years old, we can understand her feeling the need to shift from being physical to using medication. She addressed the backlash and told people that she was just done with all of the hate from people, and particularly herself. The medication is approved by the FDA as a prescription for managing weight and staying healthy, and in her lifetime, this feels like a relief rather than a burden. Her goal with taking the pills is to take down the stigma surrounding them, as well as granting her a chance to live a healthier life. However, earlier this year, Oprah received an insane amount of backlash after announcing that she was going to be helping the people of Maui. Oprah and Dwayne Johnson announced that they would be starting the relief fund for the victims of the Maui wildfires. The People's Fund of Maui was given a solid $10 million to get off the ground, $10 million donated by Oprah and Dwayne combined. So why is it just Oprah that received so much hate online? Well, it's because she has a net worth of like $2.8 billion. That's billion with a B. The world is collectively furious at Oprah for having the audacity to ask working class citizens for charity when most people can barely afford to put food on their own tables. Dwayne Johnson and Oprah donated $5 million each to give the fund a head start. Well, guess what? $5 million to Oprah Winfrey is like $500 to us. That is chump change. The world is understandably frustrated. Imagine someone with a physical gold bar around their neck asking you for spare change on the street, like, "Hey, what's that thing around your neck? It's shiny, it makes me feel bad about myself. Maybe use that." Thankfully, the fund has actually been a pretty positive thing for the people of Maui. Dwayne Johnson appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast a few weeks ago and explained that the fund has been helping families affected by the fires by granting them $1,200 a month per person in their household, meaning that some families are receiving like $5 or $6 grand every month, which is a lot. Thousands of people across the island are no longer living in fear or stress about how they're going to afford to live following the devastating wildfires that took out a large portion of the island this year. Oprah's involvement really should not be the focus, because point instead focus on the terrible things that she's done outside of the Maui thing, okay? Let's not forget what her show really was. Oprah used to bring the most vulnerable people she could find onto her show to share their stories, and while some were just actors or people sharing some positive stories, there were also so many people who would just cry on her show. Let's not forget the other careers that this woman is responsible for creating, especially programs with some of her buddies like Dr. Phil. Oprah is not just responsible for many hopes being squashed live on air, but she is also the creator of many talk show celebrities like Dr. Oz, Oz, and as I just mentioned, Dr. Phil. Now, before Dr. Phil had his own show, Oprah had asked him and his courtroom consulting firm to help him with a trial. Before meeting Oprah, Phil apparently had zero interest in being a television personality, but Oprah made him see the light, so to speak. According to Phil, she helped him understand the power of these shows and what they were truly made for. Now, for Phil, he brings people onto his show who are struggling with personal issues that just so happen to be good for TV. Remember the Catch Me Outside girl? Dr. Phil made her famous. But it's not just Dr. Phil that's had some controversial moments. Her other protege, Mr. Oz, Dr. Oz has had some pretty rough moments. His show is centered around medicine and health, bringing so-called experts on every week. My mother loved this show. Oprah Winfrey was partnered with both of these people, meaning that whatever their shows made, she got a little bit of something for her troubles. She doesn't like to tell us how much she actually made from those programs, but considering how many episodes they have and how long they've been running for, it's probably quite a bit. Number 10, Cindy Crawford. Model and actress Cindy Crawford has called Oprah out over their 1986 interview that took place on her show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Crawford reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. Everyone has a plus now. The documentary spotlights the career of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. In a clip from the documentary, Winfrey is heard introducing the then aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey Show before she asked, "Hey, did she always have this body? This is unbelievable. Stand up." Now that's what I call a body. She's visibly just uncomfortable and sheepishly stands up before the studio audience cheers as she shows off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment being told what to do by a superior. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type thing. At the time, this was just some weird thing that Oprah asked her to do, but it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments of her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that this was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman known for kindness and generosity and cars made her feel like a puppet. Number 9, Jason Momoa. Aquaman, the enemy of Dom Toretto, and now a man speaking out on Oprah Winfrey and Maui. Jason Momoa is a gifted actor, and by all accounts he is a gifted person as well. Recently, several news outlets have claimed that Jason is on the opposing side of this whole Maui fun thing. If you don't know what that's about, go check out some of our previous videos about Oprah Winfrey where we do it in, deeper dive. According to these outlets, Jason posted a video to Instagram in which he addresses the fires and offers his own support to the victims while never actually mentioning anyone by name. He does mention that some may use this as a way to exploit or make profit, but that was not his intentions. The clip went viral, and as you can guess, outlets were interpreting everything that they could out of it, with the biggest headline being Jason Momoa calls out Oprah for wildfires. While not completely inaccurate, the general consensus is that there is actually no bad, juju between these people. Jason has yet to specify who would profit from this, but since the backlash, he's been posting videos on a regular basis, updating people on the situation and his position in assisting so far. Of course, he's already donated lots of money to the island and has teamed up with Dwayne Johnson to do public functions and collaborations and raise awareness, so that's great considering where it spawned from. Number 8, Dwayne Johnson. Now, when it comes to the whole Maui fun situation, there is one person who is usually left out of the conversation, and that is Dwayne Johnson. Johnson is of course one of the most bankable men in Hollywood, starring in like a million franchises, mostly in the jungle. He decided to partner with Oprah Winfrey to create the People Fund of Maui, donated $5 million of his own money to match Oprah's donation. The Rock received a large amount of criticism, but not nearly as much as Oprah did. The main reason being is that The Rock actually has a significantly smaller net worth, and the money that he donated was actually his own money. He's still only a millionaire, everyone. He's just as poor as the rest of us. Thousands of his followers have defended him rather than passing judgment because, hey, $5 million is a ton of money, and it's gonna make a lot of people's lives that much easier. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of information regarding his position towards Oprah, but the comments on their posts have been turned off, and the People's Fund of Maui has raised a lot of money since, so at least something good's coming from all the negativity. Number 7, Tom Hanks. Rumors have been circulating online that Tom Hanks may have received some inside information about the Maui wildfires that pertain to Oprah Winfrey. Now, a ton of videos have been published online in the last couple months claiming that Oprah orchestrated the Maui wildfires and hired a private team of firefighters to make it look more real. According to several media outlets, Tom was made aware of a secret plot because, he's so close to Oprah. The two have been known to share the occasional night out and some pasta. Well, it turns out that these were in fact rumors created by an AI. Someone told a computer to write a story about Tom Hanks and Oprah, and it came up with Oprah sets Maui on fire. So that should tell you how good AI is. While a catching thumbnail and surely a fun bit of information, the reality is that Tom has no idea what's going on. When asked about his position on the Maui Fund, he had nothing but positive things to say and is actually a little disappointed with the reaction from the world. When America's dad tells you he's disappointed in you, that's just an extra level of hurt. Number 6. Oprah Winfrey herself. Oprah is taking one of the bigger spots on this list because she has been trying to warn us about herself since day one. Her talk show is all about bringing the most vulnerable people on and getting views. She's brought violence victims, health experts, fake psychologists, and even convicted felons onto her program, all for the sake of making a few bucks. As the years went by, her style was adapted by more and more studios, creating shows like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, who were both equally as controversial. Not to mention a few years ago when she wrote a book detailing her life and rise to the top, she revealed some truly dark things about her home life. Again, covered that in detail in a different video. She herself was considered to be a tyrant by her family, but it seems that whatever negative juju was in that house rubbed off on her forever. Now, there are actually a pretty limited number of celebrities who warned us about Oprah, because overall most stories are fake that are out there in the world. So let's talk about some lives that have been destroyed by Oprah Winfrey when they actually did go on her show for real. Number 5, a fabricated memoir. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show that turned any book that she chose into a bestseller. In September of 2005, she picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Fret about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became the best-selling non-fiction book of the year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book that Oprah called gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a very expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there is a section of the book that tells the story of Frey surviving a fatal train crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers. He was never on that train, nor did he have any involvement with that situation. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to return to the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, and that feeling was shared by her audience and millions of people who read that book. She asked why James felt the need to lie to herself and the readers, and he tried everything, making every excuse that he could think of. He claimed that he altered a lot of the details, but that the overall plot was real. The studio audience responded with a massive wave of boos, gasps, and groans. Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience, as it was not her intention, but the damage was already done and his career as a writer is currently non-existent. Number 4, Harry and Meghan. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan have appeared in the public eye more and more in the past few years. After leaving the duties of their royal family to live on their own, they decided to capitalize on their so-called fame by releasing a series of different medias, books, podcasts, documentaries, and in 2021 they sat down with Oprah Winfrey to air out every piece of dirty laundry that was left in their hamper. Of course, the royal family does not appreciate these secrets being shared with, the world, so not only was Harry blacklisted by them, but the interview kind of soiled the royals' reputation as good people. According to fans of Oprah, the interview made the couple look more villainous than they surely intended. Following the interview, their public image was slightly tainted, and with more media coming out, it just made the situation even worse. Meghan got a podcast and couldn't keep up with material for the first year. They made a documentary that people just don't like, so who knows what they'll get up to next. It certainly will not be anything good. Number 3, Lance Armstrong. 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong has gone down in history as a man who is unable to ride a bike without using some chemical training wheels. In an interview with Oprah from 2013, Lance was brought on to discuss the allegations floating around regarding his status as a Tour de France winner. Several sources claimed that Lance had to take performance-enhancing substances to win each race, as well as a type of transfusion involving the red life juice that flows inside of all of us. Armstrong went on air and fessed up to every single thing that had been claimed about him, except he did deny the notion that he was some kind of a mastermind who was controlling his teammates and forcing them to join in his extracurricular activities. But amidst his admission of guilt, to say that 10 times fast, there was a moment where he tried to pin the situation on his battle with cancer. He wraps it up by saying that he should have tried harder to cancel the culture rather than create more of a problem. He was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles and has since lived in exile among the cycling world and honestly just the world in general. Number 2, Where's the beef? In spring 1996, the United Kingdom apparently experienced an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or mad cow disease, since I can't pronounce that last word properly. According to the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous systems, and if humans eat the infected meat, you get zombies! No, but they can contract a deadly variant called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. During the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lyman. The former cattle rancher had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle and went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Co-Science Animal Welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cows to America. He pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow to infected cattle or other animals could have facilitated the spread, and that such practices were actually pretty common in the US. Oprah was stunned and vowed that she would never eat a burger ever again. It turns out her influence and her millions of viewers were so large that only a few hours after the episode aired and she declared to never eat a hamburger again, the price of beef plummeted, staying at an all-time low. Like, anyone who had stocks in the beef industry just not good. One Texas rancher lost an estimated $6.7 million and organized a class action lawsuit against Oprah and her show for talking trash about American beef. After a 6-week trial, she won, leaving someone with no farm and out thousands of extra dollars in legal fees. And at number 1, Tom Cruise. Despite this man being in Mission Impossible, he has been in a lot of movies produced by Tom Cruise. You didn't think Hollywood forgot about the Oprah Show, did ya? They didn't. Following the announcement that he was engaged to Katie Holmes in the early 2000s, Tom appeared on an episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show that has gone down in history as one of the most chaotic TV moments of all time. From the moment he steps on stage, things are just going wrong. He throws his arms out in the air, he rubs Oprah's shoulder like she's a genie or she's got a stain that just won't come out. Tom jumped on her couch, grabbed her hands, and she couldn't even get a question out. Eventually, Oprah was like, alright, whatever, just bring Katie Holmes out, and the cameras followed Tom as he ran around the studio trying to get her, like he was the nature guy running through a jungle like Steve Irwin back in the day. The moment cemented Tom as a man with many hidden personalities, and while it has not affected his work as an actor, ever since that day, whenever he's brought in for press of any kind, all entrances and exits must be locked just to be safe. Now, that didn't happen, but again, this guy might be in movies, but he's rarely in anything new that he didn't make. So, number 10, Lance Armstrong. 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong has gone down in history as a man who is unable to ride a bike without chemical training wheels. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey from 2013, Lance was brought on to discuss the allegations floating around regarding his status as a Tour de France winner. While several sources claimed that Lance had to take performance-enhancing substances to win each and every race, as well as a type of transfusion involving the red life juice that lives inside of all of us. Armstrong went on air and fessed up to every single thing that they were claiming he had done. However, he did deny the notion that he was some kind of like a mastermind who would control his teammates and force them to join in his extracurricular activities. But amidst his admission of guilt, say that 10 times fast, there was a moment where he tried to pin the situation on his battle with cancer. He wraps it up by saying that he should have tried harder to cancel the culture rather than create more of a problem. He was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles and has since lived in exile among the cycling world. Number 9, the fabricated memoir. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show that turned any book that she chose into a bestseller. In September 2005, Winfrey picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Frett about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became the best-selling non-fiction book of the year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book that Oprah called gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a very expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there's a section of the book that he tells the story of surviving a fatal train crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers when he was never on that train or even involved in that in any way, shape, or form. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to return to the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, a feeling that was shared by her audience and millions of readers around the world. She asked why James felt the need to lie to herself and her readers, and he tried everything, making every excuse in the world. He claimed that he altered a lot of the details, but that the overall plot was real, you know? The studio audience responded with a massive wave of boos, gasps, and groans. Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience, as it wasn't her intention, but the damage was already done, and his career as a writer is non-existent. Number 8. Kid Rock. Kid has never been shy about his opinions on anything, especially when it comes to Oprah Winfrey. A while back, Kid Rock was escorted out of his own steakhouse in Nashville for ranting about Oprah in a no-no juice-fueled tirade. He told TMZ that his PR team actually tried to get him on the Oprah show at one point. Oprah's team just wanted him to write down 5 reasons why he loved her show, and he said F that and threw away that piece of paper that they gave him. Over the following years and to this day, he has tweeted his opinions and feelings about Oprah, with the big summary being that he just kinda doesn't vibe with her, literally saying that he couldn't explain why he hated her. Maybe it was because he didn't believe that she was nice or charitable, but that he was certain that she was secretly a menace. Kid's career hasn't been great in general, but these comments about Oprah did not help his case. Number 7, David Letterman. A majority of the world believes that Oprah's feud with David Letterman dates back to 1995 after he made an awkward joke at the Academy Awards, but Letterman claims that their beef actually started a lot earlier than that. According to an interview between David and late-night host Jon Stewart, David claims that his feud with Oprah began many years before the Oscars. He explained that he ran into Oprah when they were both on vacation with other people, and explained that she was with Stedman at the time and he was with his then-girlfriend Regina. David decided it would be funny to prank Oprah one day at lunch. The story goes that the waiter walked past him and he simply pointed to Oprah and said, "That woman right there? Yep, she's been kind enough to take care of our check." They then got up and left Oprah with the bill. Yeah, I'm not surprised that she's not stoked about that. Even millionaires don't appreciate sneaky people. Winfrey has never cited that as being the source of her anger, though apparently she felt the feud began when she was a guest on his talk show in 1986. David continued to make rude jokes at her expense and made her feel extremely uncomfortable. She didn't speak to him for 16 years after that. Now, David is a strange man, especially when it comes to female guests, so it's no surprise that she was uncomfortable the entire time. Number 6, Whoopi Goldberg. In author Kitty Kelly's unauthorized Oprah biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg became a persona non grata, or an unwelcome person, to Oprah Winfrey after she was nominated for an Oscar for her role in The Color Purple. The book noted that following the honor, the comedian never appeared on Oprah's show again and was noticeably shunned from her 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Oprah invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto the show that their feud was addressed. Turns out that Oprah had actually ran into Whoopi at Tyler Perry's party sometime after 2006, and Goldberg confronted Oprah, leading to a hilariously adorable moment between them. She asked Oprah why she was mad at her, to which Oprah replied, "Why am I mad at you? I thought you were mad at me." What? They mutually agreed that they really should have just picked up the phone and figured things out like adults. Number 5, Seal. This man may be known for his vocal chops, but he really should be known for his meme-making abilities. Just days after the Golden Globes, Seal posted a meme on Instagram consisting of several photos of Oprah Winfrey cozying up with a man whose name I can't say on the internet because he's heinous. So he's the guy who produced half of Quentin Tarantino's movies. He was the main cause of the Me Too movement, and we're gonna call him Jabba the Hutt for this list. Oprah and Jabba were photographed spending time together, and one photo even made it look like Oprah was pushing singer Rita Ora towards Mr. Hutt. Seal captioned the image by saying a bunch of stuff that I'm not allowed to quote because the gosh darn internet. The meme itself read, "When you have been part of the problem for a decade, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." I'm not sure how deep this feud goes, but on the surface it seems that Seal has been trying to warn us about some things for years. Number 4, Ice Cube. Ice may have gotten his career thanks to his epic music chops, but both as a solo artist as well as his time with the NWA, but these days you probably know him as the guy from Ride Along or 21 Jump Street. Ice Cube started acting in movies in 1991, debuting in the film Boys in the Hood as Doughboy. He continued to act over and over again, starring in movies like Friday, Anaconda, and my favorite, Are We There Yet? His dislike for Oprah comes from the fact that while he has starred in several films and has become more widely known for that, she never invited him onto the show. She's even asked his co-stars to appear more often than himself on multiple occasions. In 2006, Ice Cube expressed his frustrations, saying that his barbershop co-stars Cedric the Entertainer and Eve were invited onto the show while he was left onto the sidelines. He pointed out how crazy it is that she has all of these people with dark pasts and convictions onto her show, plus if he wasn't a rags to riches story, who was? If you don't know that story, I recommend you watch the film Straight Outta Compton from 2015. It received massive critical success, and it's never mentioned on Oprah's show once, so go check it out. Number 3, Angelina Jolie. You would imagine that two people who consider themselves to be humanitarians would agree on something, but apparently that's just not the case between Angelina Jolie and Oprah Winfrey. According to an insider close to Miss Winfrey, Angelina actually refused to help Oprah launch her Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. According to the source, Oprah reached out seeking celebrity sponsorship and public backing for her project, but when she reached out to Angelina, she was met with a swift no. Oprah assumed that Angelina, of all people, would jump at the chance to represent such an incredible cause, especially considering how much Angelina apparently just loved Africa. But the no was a devastation, and she would never ask for Angie's help again. Many believe the hate towards Oprah stems from her decision to publicly side with Jennifer Aniston after Angelina had split from Brad Pitt. To be fair to Oprah, that split came literally weeks before the whole Brangelina thing became public, so Number 2, Ludacris. Ludacris appeared on Oprah in 2004 to promote the film Crash. He claimed that Oprah ambushed him with criticism about hip-hop lyrics instead of talking about the critically acclaimed movie that he was there to plug. Luda has since claimed that Oprah edited the show to make herself seem more favorable to her audience. He said that during a separate interview, she edited out a lot of his comments while keeping her own in. Of course, it's her show, but they were doing a show on racial discrimination, and she gave Luda a hard time as a rapper when he came onto the show as an actor. Luda revealed that his interview was extremely last minute, not knowing if it was a real thing until roughly 24 hours before. Following the interview on Oprah, she pulled Luda aside to a green room where he claims to have been berated by the talk show host. According to Oprah, having a rapper on her show just made her feel like she was empowering them. He said it was like being at someone's house who just didn't want you to be there. At that point, he had already been uncomfortable, but that was just a little cherry on top. Her main concern was his use of the N-word in lyrics, but he quickly pointed out the hypocrisy of having people like Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock onto the show who were famous for using the slur in their sets. Oprah's shadiness was on full display following the interview from Luda. And at number 1, Mel Gibson. Now, there was a ton of misinformation spread across the internet since Oprah's whole situation went down. For a while, people believed that Jason Momoa and Tom Hanks had inside information on Oprah and that it needed to be shared, but that was all a lie, and neither of those people ever said a word about Oprah. Another celebrity that's been brought into this mix is Mel Gibson, a man fueled by controversy. For the past few weeks, clips and comments have been making their way across the globe, alleging that Mel Gibson has inside information on Oprah's secret agenda. Yeah, ready to share it with the entire world, but that, once again, is a lie. It turns out that there are people out there who just love using AI to make stuff up. It would appear that someone somewhere wrote controversial Oprah into a bar and bam, Mel Gibson's on the headline. Now, I don't use AI for a lot. I'm not actually sure if you put it in a search bar. I don't know how AI works. But Mel has spoken out claiming that he's never received any inside information and that he was fairly neutral on his so-called hate. So if you see anything about Mel on the internet, just know it's probably not true.
Number 10, Cindy Crawford. Model and actress Cindy Crawford has called Oprah out over their 1986 interview that took place on her show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Crawford reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. Everyone has a plus now. The documentary spotlights the career of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. In a clip from the documentary, Winfrey is heard introducing the then aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey Show before she asked her, "Did she always have this body? This is unbelievable. Stand up, now that's what I call a body." She is visibly uncomfortable and sheepishly stands up before the studio audience cheered as she showed off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment, being told what to do by her superior. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type situation. At the time, this is just one of those weird things that Oprah asked her to do, but it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments in her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that this was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman known for her kindness and generosity made her feel like a puppet. Number 9, Seth MacFarlane. The creator of Family Guy and the TED series is not a fan of Miss Oprah Winfrey. During the whole 2020 situation with the masks and the isolation, you know what I'm talking about, Seth decided to share some words of wisdom about Oprah Winfrey. He started by acknowledging that Oprah had done some pretty altruistic things with her career, but that she used her platform to amplify the voices of outlandish characters rather than legitimate scientists or medical professionals. The post included a link to the LA Times that discussed the misinformation from Dr. Phil, and of course Dr. Oz. He was claiming that a ton of what was discussed on their shows was nothing more than in misinformation and entertaining disasters. The Cash Me Outside girl, the purple guy who drank silver water like it was his job, and so many more that I can't actually talk about online. He called Oprah Winfrey out for starting as a legitimate show with the goal of educating and instead morphed into this misinformation platform. Number 8. Rose McGowan. A ton of A-listers out there will be on Oprah's side through thick and thin, just the way it is. However, Scream alumni and Me Too activist Rose McGowan is not one of those people. The former Charm star tweeted a photo from 2014 involving Oprah kissing the cheek of one of the most disgraced men in Hollywood history. Can't really say his name, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. The photo was taken from the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards. She posted about on Twitter that she was glad to see the ugly truth about Oprah coming to light, and she said that she wished Oprah was real, but sadly she was not. According to Rose, she is as fake as they come, #lizard. Winfrey claimed that she did not know what was going on back then and regretted being so close to such a terrible man. A terrible man that I really wish we could talk about, but nope, that's not happening. Number 6. Kid Rock. So Kid has never really been shy about his opinions on anything, especially when it comes to Oprah. A while back, Kid Rock was escorted out of his own steakhouse in Nashville for ranting about Oprah in an alcohol-fueled tirade. He told TMZ that his PR team actually tried to get him on Oprah at one point, and apparently Oprah's team wanted Kid to write down 5 reasons why he loved their show. He then said F that and threw away the offer. Over the following years and to this day, he has tweeted his opinions and feelings towards Oprah, with the big summary being that he just doesn't vibe with her, literally saying that he could not explain why. Well, maybe it was because he didn't believe that she was nice or charitable, but that he was certain that she was secretly a menace, and look where we are now. Number 6. Mel Gibson. There has been a ton of misinformation spread across the internet since this whole Oprah situation has gone down. For a while, people really believed that Jason Momoa and Tom Hanks had inside information on Oprah, and that it needed to be shared with the world. But that was all a lie, and neither of those people ever said a word about Oprah. Another celebrity brought into the mix for some reason is Mel Gibson, a man fueled by controversy. For the past few weeks, clips and comments have been making their way across the globe, alleging that Mel Gibson has the inside scoop on Oprah's secret agenda, ready to share it with the world. But that once again turned out not to be true. In fact, it was just someone who really loves using AI to try and make content. In fact, Mel has spoken out about claiming that he has never received inside info on Oprah, and that he was fairly neutral on this so-called hate towards her. Number 5. Seal. This man may be known for his vocal chops, but he should also be known for meme-making abilities. Just days after the Golden Globes, Seal posted a meme on Instagram consisting of several photos of Oprah Winfrey cozying up with a man who I will not be naming. He's a guy who produced half of Quentin Tarantino's movies and was a main character of the Me Too movement that happened back in 2017. He and Oprah were photographed spending time together, and one photo even made it look like Oprah was pushing singer Rita Ora towards him. Seal captioned the image saying a bunch of stuff that I just cannot quote, but the meme itself read, "When you have been part of the problem for a decade, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Well, I'm not sure how deep this feud goes, but on the surface it seems like Seal has been trying to warn us that something is up for years. Number 4. Ice Cube. Ice may have gotten his career thanks to his epic music chops, both as a solo artist as well as during his time with the NWA. But these days you probably know him as the guy from Ride Along or 21 Jump Street. Ice Cube started acting in movies in 1991, debuting in the film Boys in the Hood as Doughboy. He continued to act over and over again, starring in movies like Friday, Anaconda, and Are We There Yet? His dislike for Oprah comes from the fact that while he has starred in several films and has become more widely known for those films, she's never actually invited him onto the show. She's even asked his co-stars to appear rather than himself on multiple occasions. In 2006, Ice Cube expressed his frustrations, saying that his barbershop co-stars Cedric the Entertainer and Eve were all invited onto the show while he was left on the sidelines. He pointed out how crazy that is, the fact that she's had all these people with dark pasts and convictions, plus if he wasn't a rags to riches story, then who was? We did get a little piece of that story in the film Straight Outta Compton in 2015, a film that received massive critical success and that was never mentioned on Oprah's show. Number 3. Jason Momoa. Aquaman, the enemy of Don Torito, and now the man speaking out on the Oprah Maui scandal, Jason Momoa is a gifted actor and by all accounts a gifted person too. Recently, several news outlets have claimed that Jason is on the opposing side of the fund. According to these outlets, Jason posted a video to Instagram where he addresses the fires and offers his own support to the victims. While never mentioning anyone by name, he mentions that some may use this as a way to exploit or make profit, but that is not his intentions. The clip went viral, and as you can guess, many outlets were interpreting everything that they could, with the big headlines being Jason Momoa calls out Oprah for wildfires. While not completely inaccurate, the general consensus consensus is that there is no bad blood between these people. Jason has yet to specify who would actually be profiting from this, but since the backlash, he has been posting videos on a regular basis, updating his followers on the situation, and also his position in assisting with things so far. Of course, Jason has donated money to the People's Fund and has also teamed up with Dwayne Johnson to do public functions and collaborations to raise awareness and scrape together as much money for the people of Maui as possible. Number 2, Ludacris. Ludacris appeared on Oprah in 2004 to promote the film Crash. He claimed that Oprah ambushed him with criticism about hip-hop lyrics instead of talking about the critically acclaimed movie that he was there to plug. Ludacris has since claimed that Oprah edited the show to make herself seem more favorable to audience members. He said that during a separate interview that she had edited out a lot of his comments while keeping her own in. Of course, it is her show, but they were doing a show on racial discrimination, and she gave Ludacris a hard time as a rapper when he came on her show as an actor. He then revealed that his interview was extremely last minute, not knowing if it was a real thing roughly 24 hours before. Following the interview on Oprah, she pulled him aside to a green room where he claims to have been berated by her. According to Oprah, having a rapper on her show made her feel like she was empowering them. He said that it was like being at someone's house who really doesn't want you there, and at that point he had already been very uncomfortable, but that was a little cherry on top. Her main concern was his use of the N-word in lyrics, but he quickly pointed out the hypocrisy of having people like Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock on the show. These guys were also famous for using the slur in their sets. Oprah's shadiness was on full display following that interview from Ludacris. Number 1, herself. Oprah is taking the top spot on a list of people exposing Oprah, because yes, she has been doing it since day one. Her talk show is all about bringing the most vulnerable people onto her show to get views. She's brought in violence victims, health experts, fake psychologists, and convicted felons onto her program, all for the sake of profit. As the years went by, her style was adapted by more and more studios, creating shows like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, both equally as controversial. Not to mention a few years ago when she wrote a book detailing her early life and rise to the top, revealing some truly dark truths about her home life. She herself was considered to be a tyrant by her family, but it seems that whatever negative juju lived in that house, it really rubbed off on her.